Joined this evening by Bob Latta, who spent his weekend in Washington with the health care reform vote. You voted no on it. What were your reasons why you didn't support this bill?
Well, right off the bat, a couple of quick ones. Number one, the president said that what we're supposed to do is get everybody insured, and that this was supposed to be a cheaper type of way or more inexpensive way of insuring people. This bill has now been scored by the Congressional Budget Office at about $1.3 trillion. There's about a $500 billion hit to Medicare, and of course our seniors rely on Medicare. We're looking at maybe about $769 billion in taxes in this. And you're looking at almost really a true government takeover of our healthcare system. So you put kind of just real briefly roll those things together real quick, and there's a quick reason I voted no. Okay,
so was there a bill that you saw in the last couple of months, the last couple of weeks, that you could have gotten behind?
Well, the Republican alternative came out last week, and what we were really stressing is several things. One, medical malpractice reform in this country, tort reform. The Democrat version that passed, there's nothing in there really, nothing. And so, you know, if you want to start reforming the system, because the president said, well, we have to do something about all this defensive medicine that the doctors are practicing. Well, if you want to take care of it, the best way to do it is let's start right here with tort reform. And that's not going to happen in this. Second, we wanted to have pooling across state lines. So if folks can actually go across into a larger pool, which they can't do right now, that'll help them. It'll bring down the cost of insurance. We wanted to make sure that folks that had pre-existing conditions, that those folks could be covered. We wanted to make sure, like the health savings accounts, the HSAs out there, we did something with those that really broadened it and make sure that people could use them. Another thing was, you know, if you're healthy, and you're a good lifestyle. But all that kind of got pushed aside to this massive takeover, and I think it's going to be very, very harmful to the country if this thing passes the Senate and comes back over to us.
And speaking of passing, this passes on a Saturday night. You said you would cast your vote what time?
It was after 11 o'clock.
After 11 o'clock.
After 11 o'clock.
Most of us aren't watching C-SPAN at that point, so we didn't see what happened. So do you think there was a lack of transparency having a vote so late at night?
Oh, absolutely. Not only that they didn't want the American people to know what was going on, even their own leadership was saying that if they wanted to keep their people there on a Saturday because they all want to go home at some point in time. Well, you know, you're voting on probably the largest, most expensive, most fundamental change in American history since the New Deal in the 1930s. And if your people are worried about going home on a Saturday or a Sunday to get back to, you know, it's like, no, folks, our duty is to be right there and get this thing done right, not worrying about what time is my plane leave.
Yeah. Okay, so on the Senate side, we hear a lot of people saying that this is pretty much dead, that they're going to be looking at different rewrites. Do you foresee a situation where the Senate can give you a rewrite, the committees can come together, and we could have something that maybe wouldn't put us in debt, as you were saying, and wouldn't have the tax increases?
Well, I think it depends how they do it. If they use what they call reconciliation, you know, right now the Senate needs 60 votes to get this bill out. They could say, well, we're going to go the other route and really flaunt it to the American people and only need 51 votes. And so they could literally get this thing out on a 51 vote. I think the American people would have an uprising if they did this, but they could do it. And on the Senate side, Harry Reid and the Democrats, they could say, you know what, we're going to do this under just a straight majority. Then they could get it in the conference committee, and then that's when they'll try to hammer the Senate version and the House version out. But then, you know, it comes back, there's a lot of question. Will the Senate, will the really liberals in Congress say that they'll go along with the provision that was put in the bill, you know, prohibiting public funding of abortion.
Okay.
And that was the amendment that was put in that I think passed with around 260 votes with my support. But if they take that out, then the real question is going to become is, can it then pass the House again without that provision in there? Right.
We will see. Bob Latta, thank you very much for your time. And that is tonight's Talk Back.